Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to look at two learning objectives. First, we want to look at how to simplify numerical expressions by following the order of operations, which means when we have different operations like plus, minus, multiply, divide, exponent mixed together, how do we proceed? That's order of operations. The second objective is that we want to calculate some statistics, very basic ones, and they are called mean, median, and mode. So let's get started. First, let's look at the order of operations. The first thing I want to mention is that why do we even need the order of operations? Okay, I'm going to use a real life scenario to make sense out of this order of operations. Let's consider the cost to have a gym membership. Let's suppose the initial setup fee is $50. And afterwards, for each month, you're going to pay, say, $20 using the gym. Okay, $50 setup fee, initial fee, plus $20 per month. So, say we want to calculate the total cost in a year. That's 12 months, right? So, from the common sense, you have $50. Let's say this is total cost. Your initial fee is $50. Then on top of that, you need to pay $20 each month, and for 12 months. That's for the whole year, right? So we need to multiply 12. So each month you pay 20. You have 12 20s. That's why we multiply them together. So now, if we look at this is going to be our total cost, right? If you look at this expression, we have two operations in it. One is addition, one is multiplication. If we don't consider the order of operations, we just go ahead and do the calculation from the left to the right, right? If we do that, from the left to the right, without considering the order of operations, from the left to the right, this is what we are going to get. Cost equals 50 plus 20, that's 70, times 12, and that's going to be $840. That's your annual cost. But you know this number is way off, just from the common sense. You know it is wrong, because $50 is one-time fee. Each month you pay $20. 12 months, that will give you $240. 240 plus 50, and 290. 290 is first is more reasonable. Secondly, it's just a right answer. This is from common sense. But what is wrong here in this 840? Regardless what we get, what is wrong is we were wrong in terms of order of operations. By adding these two together, you get 70, then you multiply by 12. That means you have 12 70s. That's the meaning of multiplication we learned in the previous video. Basically, you have 12 70s, 70, 70, 70, 70. That's why you end up with 840. By multiplying 70 by 12, you also multiply that $50 by 12, because you have this $50 embedded in 70. It's part of 70 after you add these two together. You know that's wrong, because 50 is one-time fee. You cannot multiply that 50 by 12. But if we follow the order of operations, which we are going to learn as the next topic, we would have to do the multiplication first, according to the rule of order of operations. So if we multiply these two together, that will be 240. Then add to 50, we get 290. We know that's the correct answer. And you see, if we don't follow the order of operations, we're going to have some ridiculous result, which is wrong. So that's why we need the order of operations. Whenever we have more than one operation in a given expression, in a given calculation, we need to follow the order of operations. Okay, now let's look at what is the order of operation, right? And there are several of this. First, you always want to do the operations inside these so-called grouping symbols, which include parentheses, brackets, braces, and also there's a fraction bar. In case of the fraction bar, you want to do all of the operations on top. We want to do all of those operations on the bottom, then we do division. And among these grouping symbols, parentheses, brackets, and braces, there are really no difference among them. The reason we have different shapes is just for human to be able to read the expression easily. Imagine if you only have parentheses, layers of parentheses, you're going to have to spend some time to pair them up to see which one is the first half of the parentheses, which one is the second half of it, because you have all of these layers of the same shape, same parentheses. That's why we have different shapes. Otherwise, their function is the same. And the second level of priority when you do the operations is exponential operation. They call it exponent. Example, you have a squares, right? Like 3 square. That square is an exponential operation. The second level. Third level is multiplication and division. And when you have multiplication and division together, you want to do these two operations from the left to the right. And there's a common misunderstanding that between multiplication and division, some people almost always do multiplication first, and that is wrong. These two operations, multiplication and division, are at the same level in terms of priority in the order of operations. First come, first serve. Okay, you do it from the left to the right. Just because this multiplication appear first and in front of division in this statement, doesn't make it that this multiplication has higher priority over division. Okay, you just do it from left to the right. Now the next level on the next page is the bottom level. Actually, is addition and subtraction. In other words, in a given expression, you do addition or subtraction as last step. And there's no priority between addition and subtraction, just like between multiplication and division. You want to perform addition or subtraction in the order they appear, which is from the left to the right. Okay. Now let's apply these rules in order of operations by looking at some examples. As usual, you're going to have some exercise questions. The answers to those exercise problems in the comment area below the video, as usual. So the first example, simplify, or you can say calculate this expression. Now, whenever you have more than one operation, always look at what we have. And in this case, we have minus, division, and multiplication. And from the order of operations agreement, we know that multiplication and division have higher priority over subtraction and or addition, right? That means we need to do this division and multiplication first before we do subtraction. And we also know between multiplication and division, there's no priority one over the other, right? We do it from the left to the right. So in this case, we are going to do division first, which is between these two numbers, 24 and 6. So 24 divided by 6 is 4. So I'm going to do this step by step. After I get 4 for this operation, I just copy the rest of the expression. So we still have multiply by 2. We still have 18 subtract in front of this 4. Now we have a new expression, updated one, right? Now we only have 2 operations now, and multiplication has higher priority. So we do this multiplication first, which is 8. So we get 18 minus 8. So eventually the final answer for this whole expression is 10. As long as you follow the order of operations and you don't make calculation mistake, you're going to get the correct answer. You get your first exercise question here. Now let's move on to example 2. Now in example 2, we have a plus, we have a fraction bar, right? Fraction bar. Fraction bar also is also called division bar. So we're going to do divisions, but before we do division, division is only between 2 numbers, one on the top and one on the bottom. That's why we have to figure out each side if you have operations on either side. Okay, we do have operation on the bottom. Now we don't need to do anything on the top, it's just a single number. But we do need to do operation on the bottom to get another number so that we can do division. So this one equals 8 over 2 squared. 2 squared means 2 times 2. That is 4. Now, when I said 2 times 2, it's not this 2 times this 2. Even though both are 2s, they are different. They have different meanings. This 2 up here just tell you you need to multiply this number down here, which is called the base of this exponential operation. You multiply base this many times. This could be 3, could be 4. If this is 4, you multiply by this 2 by itself 4 times. This happens to be 2. So this 2 and this 2, they don't have same meaning. Okay. This 2 at the bottom is called base, is the number that will multiply by itself. And this number on the top is how many times you're going to do that. Okay. Plus 5. So we have division here, as I mentioned a moment ago. This bar also called division bar. So we're going to do division. 8 divided by 4, that's 2. So 2 plus 5, the answer is 7. The final answer is 7. And if this order of operations is new to you, and all it takes for you to get used to it is through a little bit more practice. Just do some more exercise problems, and you're going to get used to it, and you can do this order of operations naturally without even thinking about it. It's just a matter of time. So practice is very important in learning mathematics. Move on to example 3. This is the second exercise problem. Let's look at example 3. Now we have a little bit longer expression, but the way we do this still remains the same. We want to look at what kind of operations in the expression so that we can follow, just follow the order of operations. In this particular one, we have exponential operation here. We have division and multiplication. So among all of these different operations, the exponential operation has highest priority in this case. So we are going to do exponential operation first, which is this. So write down the result. That is 9. Again, this means you multiply 3 by itself 2 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Then I just copy. Don't try to do more than one operations at one time. Okay, especially at the very beginning. Don't try to do that. So I'm going to copy everything else. 16 minus 9 divided by, oh, this is the addition. Plus 4 times 10 and divided by 5. Now take a look at it again. And among all of these operations, we want to do multiplication next, because between multiplication and division, there's no priority one over the other. We just do it from left to the right. So 4 times 10 is 40. And copy everything else again. We just copy everything else. Apparently, next step is division. This division gives us 8. Again, copy everything else. Now, we only have plus minus left in this whole thing. And between subtraction and the addition, there's no priority. We do it from the left to the right. 16 minus, let's do it from this side. 16 minus 9, that's 7. 7 plus 8, that's 15. So the final answer is 15. Right? Over to the next one. We have an even longer one. Apparently, you see parentheses, right? So it's getting a little bit more complex. But as long as we follow the order of operations, everything going to be fine. It's just a little bit more work, nothing more than that, right? So whenever you have these grouping symbols, no matter you have parentheses, brackets, or braces, you want to do the operations inside those grouping symbols first. In this case, we can do both operations here and here first, because both have higher priority, and we can do both first. You certainly can do this to one by one. Now the result is the same. So we have 3. 12 minus 9, that's another 3. And I copy everything else. 5 squared. The result of this one, 18 plus 2 is 20, or minus 20 here. And divide by 5. If you only have one number inside parentheses without any operations, you can choose not to use parentheses. There's no difference. If you don't use parentheses, you put a dot between this 3 and this 3 to indicate there's an operation called multiplication in between. When you use parentheses, you don't need to have any operation here. Like when you have multiplication, you don't need to indicate that, because in algebra, if there's nothing between a number and the parentheses, it by default, it means it is multiplication. That's why they don't have the dot in here and in here in this case. So I just want to make sure everyone understands why there's nothing here. I do multiplication. Now look at what kind of operation we have. We have multiplication in here. We have division in here. We have plus minus, but we also have this exponential operation. We do exponential operation first because it has higher priority than multiplication and the division, plus minus. So this one gives us 25. So I copy everything else. Minus 20. And again, I don't need parentheses because this is a single number divided by 5. And my 20 plus years of teaching tells me that when this order of operations is new to you, don't try to rush. Okay? Take your time and do enough exercise problem. You're going to get faster and faster and very accurate over the time. It will happen naturally. So don't force yourself and to go faster. Just let it happen naturally. We have a division, multiplication. They have same priority in the order of operation agreements. We do it from left to the right. That means you can do this one and this one at the same time. You can also do these two operations one by one. The result will be the same. As long as you don't do addition subtraction before you do division and multiplication. So let's just do it step by step. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 25 minus the result of division, but I just said we do it step by step, so I copy the whole thing. Now you can see next step will be this division. Let's put it on this side. So equals 9 plus 25 minus the result of this division, which is 4. Now let's pause a moment here. Look at this. This is 9. This is the 4, right? If we go from here by doing both multiplication division at the same time, we will get the same thing. Multiply give you 9, division give you 4, then you copy the rest, plus 25 and minus in between. Because both operations have higher priority than plus minus. That means you can do this two at the same time. Let's continue. 9 between plus minus, there's no priority. We go from left to the right. 9 plus 25, that's 34. Minus 4, the result is 30. That's the final answer. So nothing really is difficult. It just follow the order of operations and just some practice. And that's all it is. Let's see what we have next page. Maybe you have an exercise problem. Yeah, you have one. Yeah, you have two actually. Now example 5. I have more. Say you notice that in this video we have more exercise on a single topic, and that is order of operations. Because in my experience, many people have trouble when they perform basic calculations just because they're not very familiar with the order of operations. That's why we need more examples to look at different scenarios and more exercise problems on student side. If you do all of this exercise problem in this video and you still don't feel very confident using this order of operations, just do more exercise. Try to find some exercise problems with the correct answer, with given answer, and practice with those problems. See if you get the same answer. If you make mistake, that's not a bad thing. Just figure out where you made mistake, and everything going to be fun after you do enough exercise problems. Okay, let's look at example 5. This one is different in that we not only have this grouping symbols, we have layers. So we have this parentheses inside brackets, right? In reality, in real life, you could have many layers in some scenarios. But let's look at this particular one. Whenever you have layers, one pair of grouping symbol is embedded in another pair, you want to do these operations from inside to the outside in that direction. In other words, we want to do the operations inside parentheses first, and then we do the operations inside the brackets. Or I can say, try to get rid of parentheses first, and then get rid of brackets between these two because they are in layers. Okay, let's do this step by step. This is my first step, which will be 15. So let's say this is 15. Then I copy everything else inside the bracket. So that's a 30 divided by. So this division is still inside this pair of brackets. Again, I copy everything else. So just make it clear that you follow this procedure. Plus 7 minus 3 squared. And next step, we want to do division first because this operation is inside this grouping symbol, which has highest priority. So equals 28 minus 4. I copy everything else and do this division. The result is 2. At this point, you can still use this grouping symbol. You can just choose not to use it because they only have one number left. In between is multiplication. And I copy the rest. Apparently, next we are going to do this subtraction because this operation is inside a grouping symbol. So this is going to be 4. And then we copy everything else. Now we do exponential operation, which is 16. Now we have multiplication and subtraction, addition. Multiplication first, this is 8. So 28 minus 8 plus 16. Go from left to the right. 28 minus 8 is 20. So between addition and subtraction, there's no priority. They are at the same level in order of operations. So 20 plus 16, 36. So that's our final answer. And another exercise for problem for you. Now we have another one. I don't know if this is the last one. Let me have a peek. Yeah, this is the last one for the order of operations. So we have 6 examples. So this one basically is a big fraction. That's all it is. And this bar is called a fraction bar, which is also called division bar. So we are going to do division, but division is between two numbers, one number on the top, one number on the bottom, which means we need to do all of the operations on top to get a single number, and also all of the operations on the bottom to get a single number before we do the division. So let's do that. On the top, we have a square. We do square first. That is 49. On the bottom, we have parentheses. We do operations inside parentheses first, which is 2. So I'm going to copy everything else. On the top, and we got just a single operation, which is 45. On the bottom, we have subtraction, we have multiplication here, we have exponential operation with the base 2. So we do exponential operation. This is one of those areas people make mistakes. Some people would multiply 3 by 2 and then do the next. That is wrong. Because between multiplication, even though we don't have anything in between, it means multiplication whenever you have parentheses. So exponential operation has higher priority than multiplication. So 2 to the third power, that means 2 times 2 times 2, that's 8. And 3 multiplied by that, and 29 minus. So now we do multiplication first. On the bottom, 3 times 8, 24. So 29 minus 24, 45 on the top. And 29 minus 24 is 5. And 45 divided by 5, that is 9. So the final answer is 9. And you get something similar as exercise problem on the next page. And there it is. Yeah. Now let's look at our second objective in this video. For this video, we are going to calculate 3 statistics, means mean, the median, and the mode of a given list of values. They call it a data set. If I want to mention this terminology or jargon, if you want to call it. Either way is okay. It's just a group of numbers, a group of values, a list of values. Okay, first one first. What is the mean? The mean is another way to say the average of a given list of numbers. We calculate the average. How do we calculate the average? You don't have to go to school to learn this average, because we encounter the average calculation in real life, everyday life, so often. Many people already know that. So basically, if you have a group of numbers, you want to know the average of those numbers. You want to add all of those numbers together, then divided by the total number of numbers. And that's called average. But what is the meaning of average? Average gives you the middle value of that whole list of values. The middle value. Okay, now let's look at our first example, probably only example, because this concept is very straightforward. And example 7, a student has the following test scores: 94, 82, 88, and 96. So we want to find the mean of these 4 numbers. So according to the definition, we just add these 4 numbers together and divide by 4. So this is a setup. Remember, this is the division bar: 94 plus 82 plus 88 plus 96 divided by 4, since we have 4 numbers. Now, since this is not addition example, this is just an example to calculate the mean. So I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator to do this addition quickly. So we got 94 plus 82 plus 88, then plus 96. So I add these 4 numbers together, equals this is number on the top. So make sure you get the number on the top, you get the number on the bottom, and then you do the division, especially when you use calculator. And sometimes people just go ahead and after 96, they type, they push the division key, divided by 4, and that would be wrong. Let me mention quickly why that would be wrong. I'm gonna write this quickly: 82 and plus 88 plus 96. Say if you already type this in your calculator, then you follow by divided by 4. Can you see what's wrong here? It would be wrong. Your answer, whatever you get, it would be wrong, because without doing anything, just go like this, the calculator will follow the order of operations too. It will perform this division first and add result to these 3 numbers, and which has different meaning than average, because average is the sum of all of the numbers divided by 4, divided by the number of numbers. You have to get the sum first. And if you want to do this in a row without writing down anything, it's still fun. All you need is using a pair of parentheses to surround these additions, so that the calculator will follow the order of operations by getting the result of all this addition first, which is 360, then divided by 4. That's the intended order of operations, right? So now that's going to be 90. So 90 is the average. So that's another example for the reason when we learn something new, we want to be able to understand it. We want to focus on understanding and being able to do it manually for understanding before you use calculator. Because once you understand it, you're going to use your calculator in the correct way. Now, second statistic is called the median of a given data set. The median of a list of numbers. So what is the median? definition of the median. It is the middle number in an ordered data set, in an ordered list of numbers. Here, the keyword is ordered. It's not just a list of numbers. You don't just pick the middle number in a list of numbers. That list of numbers have to be put in order first. So either you list those numbers from the smallest to the biggest, or from the biggest to the smallest. Either way is okay. The middle number is still the same number, it doesn't make any difference. So I'm going to use example 8 to just show you. It doesn't matter how you list those numbers in order, as long as you put them in order, you get the same median. Okay. So first, I'm going to list these numbers from the smallest to the greatest. Let's see which one is smallest. 3, right? So 3. Next one is let me just cross out so that I don't read it anymore. Next one is 8. And then next one is 10. From the smallest to the biggest. Then next one is 12. And 16. And 25, 34. 25, 34. Make sure I got everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, I have 7 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I don't miss any numbers. Now I put them in order. Now I want to locate the number in the middle. Apparently, we only have 7 numbers. Everybody can see this number is in the middle. Being in the middle means you have equal number of numbers in the front and after. You have 3 in front of 12 and 3 numbers after 12. So our answer is the median of this data set is 12. It's 12. So imagine if you put this list of numbers from the greatest to the smallest, all you need is reverse this, right? If I do it that way, 34, 25, 16, 12, 10, 8, 3, which one is in the middle? Still 12, right? Still 12. So that's why I said there's no difference as long as you put this list of numbers in order, then you locate the number in the middle. That will be the median of this whole data set. Okay, one more example for the median, because we have 2 different scenarios. That's why we have 2 different examples for the median. Now, example number 9, find the median of this list of numbers. So as usual, as in the last example, I'm going to put these numbers from the smallest to the greatest. So the first one is 5 and 6 and 14, 15 and 20, 22, 28 and 35. How many numbers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So we get them lined up from the smallest to the biggest. Now this time you probably already noticed we don't have a single number in the middle. The reason for that is that we have 8 numbers, which is an even number. In other words, when you have an even number of numbers in your data set, there are 2 numbers in the middle. It's not one single number in the middle. In this case, these 2 are in the middle. Being in the middle again means you have equal number of numbers in front of this and after this, right? That's called the middle. So the median itself can only be a single number, cannot be two numbers to be called median. One single number is a median. What we do is that we add these two numbers together, divided by 2. In other words, we do an average of these two numbers. So the answer is median equals 15 plus 20 divided by 2. 15 plus 20 is 35. 35 divided by 2, 17.5. Let's see if this makes sense. Again, median means you have equal number of numbers in front of it and after it. 17.5 is in the middle of 15 and 20. Whenever you add two numbers divided by 2, you get number in the middle. For example, say 20 plus 10 divided by 2. That's 15. Is that true that 15 is between 20 and 10 in the middle? Yeah. So this one happened to be a decimal. It's in the middle of 15 and 20. If this one is in the middle, how many numbers in front of before the 17.5? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 in front of this. How many numbers after that? 1, 2, 3, 4. They have equal numbers equal number of numbers before it and after it. That's why this is the median. I hope this makes sense to you. The last one we have here is called the mode of a given list of numbers, given data set. So what is the mode? Mode is the value of values, which means you could have more than one mode in a given data set. Even though in this video, we only do those data sets that have only one mode. So the value of values that occurs most often in a data set. In other words, we just look at which one is the most popular ones in a given data set. So let's look at this example 10. In real life, you could have a very long list, thousands of numbers, sometimes millions of numbers. So in that case, we need some tool to figure out how often each value occurs. But for now, it's the demonstration of concept. So concept is more important than tedious calculation or than precise. Okay, concept is more important. So I look at these numbers one by one. And I'm going to put frequency down here. Frequency means how often it occurs. Okay. For 16, I see through this whole list, it occurred twice, occurs twice, right? So I put 2 here, how often it happens. And then I cross them out so that I don't look at them again. Now 17, this is just my way to figure out how often each number occurs. You can do it differently as long as you figure out these frequencies. 17 occur only once. Now 18 occur one time. 10 also occur one time. 19 also one time. They all occur one time. So apparently 2 is higher than any of these numbers. They happen to be the same. So this value occurs most frequently, most often. So the mode is the number of the numbers in the data set that occurs most frequently. It's not this number, it's one of those numbers in your data set. That is the mode. Okay. In this particular example, the mode is 16. Yeah. And you have one last exercise problem for this video. So you're going to find the mean, the median, and the mode for these two sets of data. So you have two separate questions. One is called A. You're going to find the mean, the median, and the mode of these numbers. And there's a separate one. You're going to find the mean, the median, and the mode of these numbers, which are the age of these students. And that is all for this video. If you have any comments, and put it below in the comment area. I try my best to answer all of your questions. Okay, see you guys in the next video.